Hey Aquarius, this is Wishko the Ferret. Thanks for hopping into the Ferret Den, where we're keeping things warm, cozy, and hopefully organized. I don't know. I'm not sure why my table's kind of a mess here. But anyway, Aquarius, we have a reading for you today for April 10th to the 16th. So for the week starting on, for me, it's Monday. So that being said, as always, Aquarius, drop into your heart space. Let the dust spiritually, physically, and emotionally settle around and within you so that you can determine which messages are for you and which messages are for others. While you do that, I will say my prayer. So, what are we starting with? We're going to start with this one. Thank you, Archangel Michael, for protecting this space, protecting my being, my body, my mind, my soul, and for showering us with the protection filled with light. Thank you, angel guides. Thank you, spirit team, for allowing me to channel clearly, accurately, with the intention to uplift and empower our Aquarius collective, whether they be sun, moon, rising Aquarius, or anybody else who happens to be coming across this message and feels called to listen to it today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. For Aquarius. You're on a mission, Aquarius. That's what I just heard. You're on a mission. Ooh. Wonder what this mission is or what it entails. If you've been working on it for a while, then you probably already know, but it's some type of mission that requires change. So it says right here, embrace change. I move easily and confidently through the changes in my life. I'm hearing, it's a hard knock life for us. And that's, to me, indicating a very lighthearted way of a serious situation, and that it's time to take it easy for a while because things have been a little rough. And perhaps that's part of the change that you're embracing right now, Aquarius, is to take a step back and be like, okay, I know things are very stressful, but right now what I need, my soul, in this very moment, is to take a breather, or to at least step into the, like, a different change of pace, or like a different state of mind. I don't know why, but I feel like they're giving me like Aquarius, and it's almost like how you've been moving is moving away from your natural Aquarius energy, but it's almost like you are being kind of pulled back. Like you're always being pulled back to yourself. So there's something here about pulling back to yourself. I don't know if it's back to your roots. Aquarius is very good at being their authentic selves. Depending on where your Aquarius placement is in your chart, and depending on like the other planets involved, typically, like, the Aquarius is the energy of being like their odd, eccentric, most authentic self, regardless of how it is seen by others. They speak their truth. They carries a lot. Aquarius energy is kind of a very logical and practical energy. But at the same time, there's something here about they'll tell you how it is. Like maybe a little bit of a blunt energy. Blunt energy coming at you. But it's more like it's coming up from within. Like this type of energy, like you are, like, I feel like this is more authentic self from your original expression. You moved away for a little bit, and now you are coming back through this change. So for your Astro Dice, we have Uranus, we have Cancer, and we have the 4th house. And this change was triggered by some unexpected event, because that's the energy of Uranus, something that comes along and shakes things up. It's kind of like, this is so funny because I'm thinking of Sailor Moon and how amazing the writer was for giving all of the Sailor Scouts their qualities. And I'm like remembering, for whatever reason, they're showing me, because it's like one of those like young magical girl shows that showed on Toonami on Cartoon Network when I was a kid. Anyway, millennial generation. But you know, they're showing her basically just like shaking the earth with her earthquake, and that is exactly the energy of Uranus. Is that something had come in, shook up your world, something unexpected. It was like a sudden turn of events that I just heard left you stranded, or perhaps left you Interesting. They said, I can cleverly deduce what this is about. They're showing me a clear situation, perhaps something that you felt left out of the cold, or I feel like for a lot of you, this is like a sudden situation in which you, while it, I mean, it could have been physical displacement, but I also feel like it's like more of a mental displacement than anything. It's like, am I really a part of this group, this thing, this activity right now? If I was really shook off my course and like pulled away from them. And I will have to be honest, Aquarius, you were pulled away from them for a reason, because you also have Cancer on your Astro dice, which is hurt, deep sensitivity. This is something that really shook you to your core. This is something that still affects you. For some of you, it is being displaced from the family because you have the 4th house showing up. This could also be something that makes you feel displaced in your own home or in your own sort of lineage. If something unexpected, this could have actually been an amazing thing too that happened for some of you. It could have been, for some of you, it could have been like a displacement and kind of broke your heart. But for the other half of you where that didn't happen, I feel like this is an unexpected thing that could have affected or stirred up some type of sensitivities within you, but that it's leading you further on your path to greater change than the rest of your family has ever experienced, or the rest of your lineage has ever experienced. There's something here about I really feel like, yeah, you're telling me. Transformation, you also have. I journey within to meet my higher self and find true happiness. This is a card, again, of deep transformation. You really have to embrace this change and step into your new way of being. Because I really do feel like for some of you, this is stepping more towards like, for some of you, this is stepping towards like a greater vision of what the divine has in store for you. Perhaps you weren't living to your fullest potential before, and now you are stepping into a space where you are able to do that. But some stuff had to go. Some shit has to go. But I feel that this is like, I'm hearing that for some, I just hear the words true. Like that's encouragement for me from spirit to like, this is what we're talking about. But I feel like if you resonate with this message, or if you know what this is about, you're like, this is where you're catching on. This is where you're like, okay, I know this is like, I know this is my path, and I know that ultimately, like, I need to move away from whatever this other energy was, whatever earthquake that came along and shifted my perception, that shifted my perspective and made me feel kind of like an alien. Something here about feeling like an alien or feeling like the odd one out. It just feels like, this is the change that you need. Remember this, but remember this in hindsight. Remember it fondly, because this is going to be like it's like the bigger picture of this moment is that this is setting you on your path. This is like the start of your transformation, the start of your path. And Spirit is all for it. You have actually 3 cards that popped out. Hot dang. Okay. You have Buffalo Spirit. The abundant universe will provide. So you have everything that you need to succeed right now. You have all the resources. You may just have to put in a little bit more of the work. That's all. But I feel like you are shifting into, there's something here about a remembrance. I don't know why. There's like a remembrance of your old self, or remembrance of the things that we used to know. The remembrance of who you were as a person. You're still coming back to that old self of yours. And perhaps this is in a way, I'm just going to use an example from my own life, because this feeling is strange and I don't know any other way to articulate it. So although I'm very different from my family, sometimes I am reminded of how my parents have worked extremely hard, and that gene runs through me. Like, I am a natural workaholic. So sometimes when I feel like I've been a little too lazy, sometimes I swing on one end of working super, super hard, and on the other hand of just kind of lounging about like a potato. And when my family comes from a very like, we do what we got to do type of attitude, where like, especially when family is involved, it's like, okay, I'm going to go out and I'm going to like, I'm going to go work for this thing, and I'm going to go get that. Basically at any, like, I wouldn't say at any price, like, but we work hard and we have like a single-minded obsessive focus almost. And although I am, and like I said, I'm very different from my family. I'm very spiritual. I'm like, I'm very into the psychic and the mediumship and like all kinds of other stuff. So I mean, like, there are definitely many things that separate me and my family, but at the same time, that's one thing that I think carries over, at least to me, is like coming back to my roots means coming back to at least the part that, you know, not coming back to like your wounded parts, but coming back to okay, so like for example, if your family did destroy you, what did they give you? Like what influence does your old self still have on you, or what influence did they have on you that could be deemed in some way something useful in this time? So that is something to consider. Again, I know a lot of people when they talk about revisiting family lineage and generational things that they think about, oh, like I'm going to revisit my trauma every time, but really look at the highlights, look at what's the most important that could be an asset, and then play off of that to come back further into yourself. That's not like, because like we can be, I feel like you're a different, like it's a sense of like you were different when you were young, but at the same time, the core of us never changes as we grow older. The core of us is always there. You are just doing efforts to reconnect with your core and it's helping to shape your path, okay? You also have Armadillo Spirit, set healthy boundaries. So for you, this is setting boundaries, whatever this earthquake situation was. And if you have to embrace change, that means cutting the cords or cutting ties to some other things that could be holding you back. And I know that, like, okay, so when I say cutting ties, I want to be very clear here, because I know a lot of times, like, we run into things like I am the queen of transmuting my ties. Because I refuse, like, and this is one of my issues, but I refuse to let go. But sometimes you might come into a situation where you're like, okay, like, yes, for some of you, you have to completely cut something out of your life, but that is very unhealthy, not just for the person that we are cutting off, and sometimes it's actually necessary because those boundaries are important, but it's actually unhealthy for us, because if we had a bond with someone once upon a time, let's say a friend, and then they just did something extremely awful, and, you know, we're cutting off all ties completely, it's you know, and I'm not to generate sadness within you right now. I feel like this is generating like a sad type of energy, but in some type of whatever energy I'm connecting to is like, you know, they're like a little sad. And you know, it's not like something to be sad over. Perhaps once upon a time, and I'm not trying to like send you back into like a spiral, but it just feels like those connections, perhaps cutting them off cold turkey does you more damage than anything, even though there's a little bit of pain when you see them occasionally. Sometimes it's better to try to work with that energy and kind of almost, I mean, I heard for some of you, this is like an efforts to save face. Okay, this is only going to resonate for maybe some of you, because I'm not sure if, you know, I mean, this cutting off culture is very hard, at least for someone like me, to deal with, just because I understand the effect of it, and I understand a lot of people in my life do it, and I see like how clear the air feels and how wonderful it feels. But I want to be careful introducing that concept into my practice and in my readings, because I have actually found that there is a great amount of healing that can be achieved from both sides. I want to be careful how I say this. Because if it's like an abusive situation, like definitely cut that shit out, like get it out of your system, like you are better off. But in terms of like family, it's a lot harder to cut them off. You might end up regretting the decision later. You might have to put up very strong boundaries. Sometimes boundaries is cutting them off. Use your own discernment, check with your intuition. What are you feeling called to do? Not emotionally, but intuitively. Because some of us, when we are acting on hate rather than love does not always have to, love can sometimes be cutting someone out. It's a love for yourself, it's a love for the other person, knowing that you know that they're not going to, how do I say, they're not going to change. You talk to them, like I don't want to say this. Some people are just very stubborn and very set in their ways. And sometimes when we keep people around, we expect them to change. That's not what this is about. Sometimes healing can be achieved by keeping that other person, setting up very strong boundaries, maybe only seeing them once a month or once a year, and then just like, or maybe once every so often, because you can still, I guess it kind of leaves the door open for you to work through your feelings and then try to come to some type of agreement with the other person It could help you realize things. It could help you both heal. So I want to be careful about just saying like, I'll like cut everybody out, cutting the cords. For some of you, it is cutting the cords, even if temporarily, even if long term. Do whatever you feel called to do, journal about it, and see where you stand on that. You also have wasp spirit. Sometimes life stings. So this is not a picture perfect situation. It was never going to be, no matter what way you painted it. I'm sorry, Aquarius, but perhaps the solution that you're makeshifting, or whatever conclusion that you're trying to manifest from this, in terms of like, if you're still trying to work with this energy, making boundaries is actually very hard, and you might not end up getting what you want. You might not end up getting what you need from that other person, because again, I said people are hard to change. And we can't be expected to make those changes. That person has to be willing to make the change, and they have to be willing to see and own up to their own faults, as well as you need to be in a state of being receptive and listening to their viewpoint and reaching some type of, compromise. I'm hearing that for some of you, the situation is dire. The situation feels very dire. So I would say it's not all cake and roses, and I'm very sorry, Aquarius. Sometimes life just stings. There doesn't really seem to be a rhyme or reason for it now. Perhaps maybe later you can see something in hindsight. But I do want to come back to this buffalo spirit, though, and highlight that perhaps you can grow more without the heavy presence of these connections. It was either, I'm getting for some of you, it was a friend group. For some of you, it is family. Whatever made you feel at home is now almost like a stranger to you, or you're being kind of cast out, or you're seeing something that, like, perhaps something incredible or awful happened or whatever, that you are having like a different perspective on now, and you're like, oh no, I feel like an alien because I have this differing perspective from everyone else. So I feel like either way, it's gonna bite, it's gonna sting, but I think the silver lining here is that not all of the stings last forever. I feel like this is a weight that you may, like, I literally see someone in a prison. I see somebody who is wearing black and white stripes from head to toe. That's just the classic image, with a ball and chain on their foot. The thing is that the ball and chain, I see very, like, okay, this is not like spirit saying you're dramatic, but they're just giving me the sense that, like, in like the cartoony comical tears almost, it feels like this is a narrative that comes with perspective. It comes with your perspective that I feel like could be, it's almost like you're putting yourself in a victim mentality, because the image that they're showing me is that this ball and chain is on this person's foot, but he can very easily get his foot out of it. It kind of gives me off like Eight of Swords energy, where like it's almost like, while yes, it stings and it hurts, there's like, it's almost like you're swinging all the way over to, I can't because of this. I can't because of this. And Spirit's like, okay, well, if you say that you can't, we're going to put you in a situation where you can. Just, we can work on rewriting our story later, but as of right now, there just seems to be so much pain and suffering that there needs to be some type of separation in order to heal from that. And then that could be a story for another day that we could look at. But I do feel like there's healing to be done in terms of, because sometimes you have to be, I love this narrative that some the spiritualists that I'm running into are saying, where like, sometimes there's nothing wrong with being the victim. Sometimes we have to be the victim in order to know how to save ourselves. That's what I had to do. I spent so many years of suffering, and it's not like blaming other people, but my environment growing up made me who I am today. I am the product of many of the experiences throughout my home life, throughout school, throughout my jobs. And I let a lot of energy in that did not serve me because of past conditioning and all kinds of other things, but there is no single one cause. It is a domino effect. But I viewed it as a single cause. Oh, this is all this environment's fault. This is all this job's fault. This is all something's fault. And I had every much a choice in those things. And I think that was that was the hardest thing ever for me to come to terms with, because this isn't a blame game. It's not who's at fault. It is like, it is taking responsibility for your own life. And it's like, do I want to feel this icky? We are the masters of our own energy. And it's like, do I want to feel this icky, or how can I remove myself from the situation? I never asked myself. I never made it work, because there were so many reasons to stay in these environments and in these situations. When I could have checked out via the mind, I could have checked out in other ways. I could have simply just removed myself physically from these situations, and I chose not to, because I had an end goal, a very specific end goal in mind. And I feel like, I just feel like it's incredibly hard to understand. It's kind of tough medicine here with like the victim mentality, but that's just something that I felt the need to elaborate on. If you're still with me, good job. So replenish your energy. When you're stepping away, it is a good time to replenish your energy. This is from the Mediumship training deck by John Holland and Lauren Rainbow. I will continue. There's like a blurb on the back. This is connecting with your mediumship, but even if you're not a medium or looking to do that, this is connecting with yourself as a spirit, connecting with spirit on the other side. These tools can be used to embrace more of a sense of self, or even connect with your higher self. I just think they're a bunch of useful tools to have in your toolkit for grounding purposes. So replenish your energy. As a medium, your work is about offering love, support, healing, and blessings from spirit. It's an extraordinary relationship, but when spirit sends you a sign to rest and rejuvenate, then it's time to take notice. Open your heart and receive spirit's love. It's often said you cannot give from an empty well. While a life of service to spirit is a beautiful calling, it can often leave you feeling tired and drained if you don't take proper care of your body as well as your mind and spirit. This is the case even if you are not clear on your path. You don't even know if you're serving spirit in that capacity yet, or whatever capacity you hope to. We all are of service to the world so long as we are of service to other people. So whether you choose to walk with spirit and embrace your spirituality is one thing, and then it's the same, equally important. It's like equally important to serve humanity, not like in human services. I mean, like with anything. So long as you are helping the world function in some way, everything we do matters. Throwing that out there. By taking time out to fill your cup with love, energy, and vitality, you can maintain a healthier relationship with spirit and improve the quality of your mediumship. The fact that you've chosen this card indicates that your body is telling you to rest. It needs time to rejuvenate and recharge your spiritual battery. You could spend the day reading a good book, being outdoors in nature, or just being with friends. Try to adopt a regular practice of yoga, meditation, body care, or a healing session, and always remember to get a good night's sleep. Make time to listen within and ask your soul what it needs. All these self-care routines will benefit your overall well-being. Intuitively, you will know when you're ready to return to work with this renewed energy, clarity of mind, and sense of purpose. So, like I said, taking a step back, taking a breather, and just chilling. Just chilling so you can embrace this change and allow your energy to shift. Let's see what your tarot has to say. Shuffle your tarot here. Oh. Got them popping out. So, you have the Two of Pentacles. You have a choice here. This is representing an issue of balance as well. So if you don't have a choice that you're like, I don't understand what choice you're asking me to make, then it could be interpreted like balance. I do feel like it's more balanced for some of you. This is a choice that you actively have to make, in terms of, okay, how do I separate? What do I do? Like, I feel like there are options here. But I ultimately... Dang! Okay, all right, I'm going to tell you dang in a second. I'm going to tell you why I said that in a second. But either way, there's some type of choice. There's some type of movement that needs to be made from this choice or from this balance issue. There's something with the Two of Pentacles that does need rebalancing. And sometimes in order to rebalance, we have to make the choice to separate from older energies or to move away from them momentarily. We have the Six of Swords, so that indicates movement. I feel like you're going to be moving on this quickly. I heard you have a habit of saying no. That's so interesting. For some of you, if you don't typically say no and you're yes sayers, then Spirit is saying to say no. But otherwise, if you are somebody who says no a lot and doesn't quite take risks or take leaps of faith, Spirit is encouraging you to do that. Start saying yes to yourself and start saying no to anything that's kind of a drain on your energy right now. I think that's pretty I think that's there's something, I don't know, there's something here about propelling your movement forward, so that saying no will propel your movement forward. I'm not exactly sure what that means. I don't know, again, if it's saying no to the older energies or saying no to old ways of your thinking, or if it's saying no to everything else. Take that and apply it as you see fit. I'm not even going to sit there and try. But either way, you're walking into hella abundance. I don't know, we have 10 of Pentacles and we have a 10 of Cups here. Guys, we have 2 10s. This is like a completionist cycle. This is like having everything that you could have ever wanted. And I'm not saying like the loose things like, they're like spirits that kind of like, spirits like warning me right now not to have like loose lips with this interpretation. So I will have to clarify that this isn't like, oh, let me manifest $1 million. I mean, don't get me wrong, that's possible. Some of you can do it. But 10 of Pentacles, like this is something that's close to the heart. This is something that warms your heart. 10 of Pentacles is achieving something that's going to warm your heart. Whatever grand vision you have for your life, warming your heart, this is setting your sights towards that and working towards manifesting that. The 10 of Cups is emotional fulfillment. So heading towards, for some of you, making a family. For some of you, heading towards your brighter days, brighter future. I don't know. So I'm getting 2 very distinct energies with this card. And with 10 of Pentacles, they're saying towards the thing that warms your heart. With the 10 of Cups, they're saying to brighter days. So you are actively moving in this. Ooh, I just got the chills just now. Ooh, so you're moving towards these things. You don't have to specifically know what they are yet, Aquarius, but you are well on your way to encountering something that, it's not like you're going to walk into it, but I feel like some of you have a vision already. Or even if you don't have a vision, you will stumble upon it on the way. I feel like your journey is, I don't know why, but I feel like it's almost like your journey is truly just beginning. Which is interesting. And you don't even have to be extremely young to have this message apply to you. Some people don't actually start living until like, you know, they get to retirement, to where they're 60 or 70, or even like in the middle of their life, they're like, oh my gosh, what have I been doing my whole life? You know, I'm coming across that now where I feel like I'm like, dang, I did not have these mediumship abilities until I was like 26 years old. And, you know, here I am. I spent a decade in college when I'm probably not going to use my degree and all this other stuff. And I'm like, what have I been doing? But I've needed all of those things up until now to make me proud, to make me learn how to be happy. Everything that is positive about me has been cultivated through the years and has made me who I am. So that's the mentality to have, Aquarius. Last but not least, I'm going to roll the angel dice for you, see what else we have here. We have 171, pulling from Angel Numbers by Kyle Gray. Your angels are reminding you about the power of your prayers. Know that they can create miracles. One more time, your angels are reminding you about the power of your prayers. Know that they can create miracles. And this is one of those things where you're not doing this alone. That's, I think, something that is always like, it's like a game changer. I was just told that's a game changer, because for some of you, you feel like you're doing this alone, that Spirit's kind of working against you, or that even like sometimes like, I know that like Spirit is always trying to help, but sometimes like as much as I'm a psychic medium, sometimes Spirit feels like an afterthought, and it feels like I am like planning and I'm making all of this stuff and I'm like planning to do the thing. Like, okay, I have to achieve this next step in order to go to the next step. I have to do this particular thing, and I have this very set goals, and they're so rigid and they're so strict that I find that I don't typically make room for Spirit to input their little miracles. Like, my plan just doesn't allow for that. So, not saying you can't meticulously plan down to a T and down to crossing your T's and dotting the I's, but there is something here about trusting, like making room for their miracles and asking for their assistance, because they're there. They are willing to help, they are assisting you, and they almost kind of want you to like snap out of it a little bit and be like, okay, well then start taking control, start doing the things that you want, start living your life the way that you want, and don't look back. The important thing with this Six of Swords is don't look back. Keep moving forward and don't look back, honey. I love you, I love you, I love you. Thank you for allowing me to channel your energy. Thank you to your spirits and guides for helping me channel. Thank you to my energies. for helping guide you at this time. And I hope you have the best week, and I'll see you next time.